Hello students, welcome back to your English class. So today we will move forward with our second unit test syllabus. We will start a new poem today, that is Gathering Leaves. Now let us look at the poem, but before that we will know something about the poet Robert Frost. Chapter 9, Gathering Leaves by Robert Frost. The full name of Robert Frost is Robert Lee Frost. He was born on March 26, 1874 and died on January 29, 1963. He was an American poet and playwright. His work was initially published in England before it was published in the United States, known for his realistic depictions of rural life and his command of American colloquial speech. Frost frequently wrote about settings from rural life in New England in the early 20th century. Poems: The Road Not Taken, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening, Mending Wall are some important poems written by Robert Frost. Notable awards: Pulitzer Prize for Poetry, Congressional Gold Medal. So now let's read the poem. Okay students, so let's read the poem Gathering Leaves by Robert Frost. Spades take up leaves no better than spoons, and bags full of leaves are light as balloons. I make a great noise of rustling all day, like rabbit and deer running away. But the mountains I raise elude my embrace, flowing over my arms and into my face. I may load and unload again and again till I fill the whole shed. And what have I then? Next to nothing for weight, and since they grew duller from contact with earth, next to nothing for color. Next to nothing for use, but a crop is a crop, and who is to say where the harvest shall stop? So now let's come to the explanation of this poem, Gathering Leaves. Gathering Leaves is one of Robert Frost's simpler poems. It is a 6-stanza poem that rhymes and has a catchy beat to the lines. It takes the reader into the world of leaves and a leaf gatherer who is busy bagging up but thinks the work a bit hit and miss, because every time he is collecting the leaves are getting scattered once again. Now let's read the line. Spades take up leaves no better than spoons, and bags full of leaves are light as balloons. So here the poet is using a simile. Now what is a simile? A simile is a figure of speech involving the comparison of one thing with another thing of a different kind, used to make a description more emphatic or vivid. For example, as busy as a bee. So here, how busy a person is? Like a bee. So there is a comparison between a bee and the work of a person. So this is called a simile. Now here you see spades take up leaves no better than spoons. So here spades and spoons are compared with each other, and bags full of leaves are light as balloons. So the weight of the bags is compared to the weight of the balloons. Okay. Now the imagery is plain enough. The work is straightforward too, or is there more to it than meets the eye? So the work which the poet has involved in this poem is more than it generally meets the eye. Robert Frost's poetry is well known for its folk wisdom, integrity, and technical excellence. His poems are popular still because they are accessible and open to interpretations we go through, so that we can interpret each and every poem of Robert Frost in a very different manner. Okay, so we can interpret it in a vivid manner. Now, in this poem, we will find that while the leaves themselves are of little value in terms of a firm crop, obviously dry leaves are of little value than that of a firm crop, right? Are of little value in terms of a firm crop, the work involved in gathering them is precious because the harvest is without end. The cycle of life, specifically the cycle of the trees that produce the leaves, goes on and is vital for the earth's survival. Gathering Leaves is a curious poem, being both simple and complex, playful and serious, a seasonal and universal, mundane and philosophical. It focuses on work and the necessary processes. Now, in the first stanza, spades take up leaves no better than spoons, and bags full of leaves are light as balloons. We find simile. Now, in the next stanza, I make a great noise of rustling all day, like rabbit and deer running away. So here we can find that how does the poet make the noise? That is, the noise of the leaves are told here or are expressed here with the word rustling. So what is rustling? Rustling is actually onomatopoeia. So what is onomatopoeia? Onomatopoeia is the use of sound words that are similar to the sound they describe. Okay, like here rustling, and there are some more examples like swoosh, bang, boom, chirp, etc. All right. Now, Robert Frost describes the process of gathering leaves as a part of the harvest which gives him no gratification. The poem takes us through the time-consuming process of gathering leaves. At the end of the poem, the speaker is left with nothing but a shed full of dull, weightless leaves. Why they are dull? Because the color is brown, so they are dull, and weightless because they practically don't have any weight. Yet the speaker knows that gathering leaves is essential for the harvest, because as the harvest is essential, in the same way gathering the dried leaves is also a very important part of the harvest. The speaker starts off the poem by saying that it is a difficult process to gather leaves. Obviously, because the leaves don't cling to your body together. It generally falls off when you try to pick them up. So it is a difficult process. Spades take up leaves full no better than spoons, and the bags full of leaves are light as balloons. So spades take up leaves no better than spoons. So spoons take up small quantity at one go. In the same way, spades take up very less quantity of dried leaves at one go. And the weight of the leaves together is same as the weight of a balloon. The spades used for gathering leaves are inefficient if they take up leaves as well as spoons. Also, the bags full of leaves weighed nothing, yet it took a long process of inefficient tools to get the leaves in the bags. Thus, even though the speaker spent precious time of his life gathering the leaves, he only has a weightless bag full of leaves to show for it. So the end result is a bag full of dried, weightless leaves, which doesn't have much importance. But yes, the process and the effort involved in gathering the leaves is very important. It is a part of the harvest. In addition to having no product to show the work done, the leaves are extremely uncooperative. Why they are uncooperative? Because they fall off, they tend to fall off, and they are dried, so obviously the tendency is more. The speaker says, but the mountains I raise elude my embrace. So they generally elude his embrace, that is, tries to fall off his embrace. That is, he tries to pick them up, but the leaves have a tendency to fall off. And here, elude means escape or avoid someone or something. So the leaves are escaping the poet's grasp. Okay, the speaker says, but the mountains I raise elude my embrace, flowing over my arms and into my face. So what they are doing? They are flowing off his arms, going down, and some are coming off to his face. Frost personifies the leaves here. He says they avoid his embrace. So he is personifying the leaves here. And care, and instead they fight back, making the job of gathering altogether difficult. The gathering the leaves even harder. So the work of gathering the leaves become altogether difficult as well as harder. Frost uses interesting diction here when he refers to the leaves as mountains when he previously described the leaves as weightless. Although the leaves are weightless in measured weight. So if we weigh the leaves, they are weightless in measured weight. But here, while the poet is describing, he is telling that they are like mountains. They feel heavy when they are gathered, because you take up a big grass together. They feel heavy, but practically they are weightless when they are gathered, because they do not stay in the bag or stay in your hand. Furthermore, to the leaves being uncooperative, the end of this process does not leave the speaker with some sense of accomplishment, because he doesn't feel very much accomplished after doing the work. Why? Because the end result is not at all satisfying for him, or it is not full of happiness for him. He is left with nothing for weight and nothing for color, because they are weightless. The leaves are weightless and colorless as well, because they have a very dried color to it, and it is not very much bright, the color is. Gathering the leaves gives him nothing. The last stanza exemplifies the overall theme well. The speaker describes the leaves as next to nothing for use, but a crop is a crop, and who is to say where the harvest shall stop? So the poet here doesn't know when this harvest of collecting dry leaves will stop, but it is an important process of the harvest, so he has to continue this. The leaves are useless once they are brought into the shed. So once the leaves are brought into the shed, they are useless, yet the speaker must continue this necessary process. So the speaker must continue this necessary process of collecting the dry leaves each and every time. He says a crop is a crop, so it must be gathered. So as the crops are gathered after the harvest, in the same way, these dry leaves should also be collected and gathered in a proper manner. It is an important and necessary step of the harvest. There is no escaping the process of gathering the leaves. So we cannot by any chance escape the process of gathering the leaves. It is an important part of the harvest. The speaker wishes the harvest and task of gathering leaves would stop, but he knows that it is a mere dream. So this is just only a mere dream which he is dreaming, because the process of gathering leaves will never stop, because it is a continuous process. It is a chain. The leaves will grow, they will bloom, they will dry, they will fall down, they will again grow. So the process is in a chain. So it will never stop. So just the poet is dreaming about this question, when it will stop, but he also knows the fact that it will never stop. Gathering leaves is an inevitable, ungratifying, but there is no escaping to this process of gathering the leaves. So the ending is philosophical, as the speaker is saying that although leaves can't be a useful or valued crop, the process of gathering them is worth the effort, because life is worth the effort. The task is worth doing. So this is the complete explanation of the poem Gathering Leaves. I hope that you have understood the poem and understood the explanation. So we will again meet in our next class and continue with the exercises of this poem. Until then, goodbye everyone.